What's up, guys? On this week's show...
You want to play games, motherfucker?
Is that a hyena in the bathtub?
An Oscar so whack?
All that and more on this episode
of One Giant Leap for Geeks.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for
Geeks. Welcome to another episode of OGLFG, where we talk about movies, video games, and all things in geek culture. I'm your host, Mike C. Squared. And with me is my co-host, DJ Melly Mel.
Hey!
Before we get started, I want to let you know, if you enjoy the show, tell some friends about us. Share us on your social media. Whatever you choose to do, just know that you're helping us let others know about the best damn podcast they probably never heard of. Now, if you want to talk to us, the show is on Twitter at GiantLeap4 Geeks, or you can get a hold of our resident DJ Melly Mel at Froggy Beaver. Mel?
Yes?
What you been doing?
Let's see. What did I do?
That was so whack.
No, I liked it. It's cool. It's cool. Maybe because I'm lame.
Yeah.
Could be. And I'm old, apparently. But,
old and busted.
Old and busted, but still the hotness.
Yeah, right. Old and busted, new hotness.
Old busted hotness.
I was going to say, if you've seen the first Men in Black, you'll get that joke. Anyway.
Anyways, that's the second Men in Black, though. By
Is
the way.
it?
Yeah. Because they bring Kay back. Kay's like,
oh,
I drive.
yeah.
He's
I
like,
drive.
I remember I drive.
You are right. Yep. Never mind. Points lost.
Ha ha ha. Anyway, what did I do this weekend? Or this week? I watched two movies. That was quite exciting.
Nice.
One that we will talk about later.
Mm-hmm.
And Jumanji, The Next Level,
yes. Mm-hmm.
which I thought was hilarious.
You enjoyed it?
I did.
I've still yet to see the first one. I know. Fail. Epic fail. I'm doing a lot better this year. This year I've done a lot better. I was just actually looking back at our catalog, and I was like, you know what? I've done good. I've tried to make sure we saw at least a movie a week so far. So
okay. Yeah.
good.
We've been doing pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought Jumanji was hilarious, and it kind of pains me that you haven't seen it.
No.
But seeing Kevin Hart pretend to be Danny Glover.
Oh my God.
And The Rock pretend to be Danny DeVito,
yeah.
And then turn around later in the movie and a horse pretend to be Danny Glover.
Okay.
And
spoilers.
Chinese Asian, like young Asian chick try to be Danny DeVito.
Oh, nice.
Is hilarious.
Nice. Okay.
Like, hilarious.
Okay. All right.
And you actually have to go see it to find out how that all happens.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not spoiling anything else.
Any more of it. just that little bit, but that's not
one
important.
little part. But
no context.
No,
so it's
no
fine.
context.
All
right. So yeah, we saw two movies, and I made centerpieces this weekend for the wedding.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We started them at least, and we got all the stars glued onto the cups, and we got little stars glued onto the cups as well.
Mm-hmm.
So for those of you who don't know, I am getting married next year, and making and or doing 95% of our wedding ourselves. Way to be crafty and keep that cost down.
Hell yeah, shit. Look.
Because, I think I got $10 into my centerpieces. And I have 12 centerpieces so far. So.
Nice.
Yay.
Well, good job.
Yay. I thought so.
Well, you were productive then.
Yeah. I also ordered Save the Dates. So those will be in a couple weeks. And I ordered the headband for my veil. So that's exciting. I did a lot of wedding stuff. I got my state taxes in, and so I kind of went crazy.
Got them dollar bills, y'all.
Yeah, and that's all right. All the bills are paid, so that's all that matters.
Good.
What about you? What have you been doing?
Well, I also saw a film that we are going to talk about later. And after we left the movie theater, I went home and streamed while I watched the Oscars.
Okay. So you got to see the Eminem performance live, huh?
Yeah. It was interesting. We're going to talk about some of the moments, highlights, I guess you could say, from the night, but it was an interesting show for sure. Other than that, I mean, just getting back into the swing of things. I mean,
Been off of work for a while.
Yeah, it's like now that I'm back, getting my bearings, getting everything all situated again. So yeah. But I am still at a point where I have not completely figured out a groove for the whole streaming thing, but it's getting better. I got schedules now.
It seems to be coming along.
Yeah, I got schedules now, and I kind of feel more comfortable, doing it as opposed to the first few times I started. I try to structure it a lot more, kind of like how I do the podcast, but then I was like, I'm just kind of talking to people and just
play
playing
and
the game.
go.
Yeah. And it's like, hey, just have fun with it. And it's been a fun experience so far. And I've met some pretty cool people, some cool anime choices I have been given, so I can start catching up on those. And yeah, that's been pretty much it.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah, it's not.
My
life is quite boring.
No, I think your life is exciting.
No, you say so.
I know that your stream has been popping up in my Facebook.
Yep.
I have a family member who I don't know if she sees you post it, and I think she thinks it's the podcast.
Yes, probably.
And so she shares it anyways, and I'm like, all
hey,
right,
that's totally
whatever.
cool. Like, hey,
Right?
hey, if somebody that knows her likes Twitch, they like watching people stream, sure, by all means, I'll take them.
Yeah,
come
sure.
on
A friend
over.
of a friend of a friend.
Yeah, good time.
Gotcha.
Good time.
But yeah, I think it's kind of funny because
Yeah,
I'm sure knowing like it's my mom, and my mom can't even look up something on Google, let alone know what a Twitch is.
Sure,
but
sure.
It's publicity either way.
She's like, is he taking medicine for that? I saw he had a Twitch. I don't know. Is he okay? Like, it's a neurological thing. Don't worry.
I love
He's
you,
fine.
Mama. I really do. But
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, you will forever be the butt of every technology joke because you struggle with technology.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm sure she understands. It's fine.
Yeah.
But all right, moving on.
I would just like to comment that it is the year 2020 between Google and Alexa. How are you having problems searching for anything? Just saying.
Welcome back to another installment of Mostly Movie News. I know it's been quite a while since we've done one of these, but I don't know.
Who cares?
It's an infrequent thing. Like I don't know what to tell you.
Dude,
like,
if Kiana can take his mom to the Oscars, I think we can have an informal thing about Mostly Movie News.
Sure. All right. So, this week we had a lot of news regarding the Doctor Strange movie, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, to be specific. The director has dropped out, Scott Derrickson, due to creative differences, whatever the fuck that means. But it has been reported by Variety that Sam Raimi is in talks to possibly direct the next Doctor Strange movie. Sam Raimi, who helped launch the modern superhero movie in the 2000s with Spider-Man, is in talks to direct Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Raimi replaces original director Scott Derrickson, who left on the 9th, the project. He will remain as an executive producer, while Raimi, meanwhile, will need to get up to speed before the film's scheduled production start date in May. Marvel had no comment on the matter. After finishing his Spider-Man trilogy for Sony back with 2007 Spider-Man 3, Sam Raimi's output as a director slowed down with just the horror pick Drag Me to Hell in 2009 and Disney's The Wizard of Oz prequel Oz the Great and Powerful in 2013. Instead, he's been busy as a producer helping relaunch various horror franchises like Poltergeist and his own classic Evil Dead. So I'm super excited because
sure.
Now, if you've listened to our All the Horror episode from 2018,
yes,
then you know that we weren't fans of Evil Dead.
Not at all.
But still, as a director, I do like Sam Raimi. I love Darkman. I love
The first two Spider-Man.
The first two, I have a love-hate relationship with Spider-Man 3. There's elements of it that I do really like, but most of it I hate. But this is exciting news. Like you know, if they can get Sam Raimi to come on and do this, like, I would be super stoked for it.
Yeah, I'd be down for it.
Because, I mean, the first Doctor Strange movie, like, I was kind of like, I don't know how I'm going to feel about this. But after watching, I was like, this was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then I really, like, fell in love with that character in Infinity War and Endgame.
Yes, like, as did I.
That's when I was like, okay, Doctor Strange is boss as shit. Like,
right.
that's my dude right there.
I remember I didn't even see Doctor Strange in theaters.
Okay.
Like, it came out, and I saw the preview for it, and I was just like, eh.
Yeah, I know. It was just something about it where I was like, the visuals and stuff look cool, but I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just not...
I think it was because I don't know enough about Doctor Strange.
Yeah, sure.
And then...
That's kind of like I was with Guardians, too. It was like, it looks like it's going to be fun and funny, but I'm like, I don't really have any kind of... Like, oh, I can't wait for Guardians.
Right.
Like,
who are the Guardians?
Like, who? Exactly.
Right. But, yeah, I'm excited for Sam Raimi to, you know, possibly take this over. I've seen some things on the internet this weekend that kind of make more sense now.
Mm-hmm.
I did see, like, a fan... I don't know if it was a fan thing or if it was a rumored something or another. They were trying to bring Sam Raimi Spider-Man.
Yeah, trying to tie all that
trying
together.
To pull him into the MCU, which
that could possible,
happen
because we've set the precedent now that there is. I mean, the movie's called The Multiverse of Madness,
right.
Like, so there is a multiverse. So I mean, we could, and we've already had Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse. So people are more accustomed to seeing multiple versions of these characters. So if they could, oh my god, if they could get Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland. Spider-Man's all in one movie.
That would be great.
I think I would literally die. No bullshit. It's never going to happen, but if they could do it, oh my god.
Even if they just had like a CG cameo or
anything,
that would be great.
Right, a silhouette of that motherfucker, like anything, like anyway. But yeah, so this, nothing has been confirmed yet. Sam Raimi hasn't come out and said anything. Marvel hasn't come out and said anything. So at this point, still treat this as rumor. So yeah, take it with a grain of salt, but this could be cool. The only thing I'm worried about, though, is Sam Raimi has a very specific, you know, like vision and style to his movies.
Yes, he does.
And I don't know if they still want to keep the release date of this. I don't know if he will be able to do that, because that's what happened with Spider-Man 3. They pushed a bunch of shit on him with Venom and shit, and he didn't want to have him in the movie, and they kind of forced it on him, and that's why it turned out so bad. So he had to pretty much rework the whole concept and the script and everything else and just kind of fit that character in there, and then the symbiote and all the baggage that comes with that. So it's like, I don't know. Like, I'd be happy for him to do it, but maybe push the release date back.
Yeah, when is this set to release?
It is supposed to be coming out
this year, right?
No,
next year.
Production's supposed to start in May. And it's supposed to come out next year.
Yeah,
so that's why I'm like, if they're gonna do this, man, just push it back to 2022 instead of 2021. But we'll see.
We have a lot coming out in 2022, though.
Yeah.
As far as Marvel Universe.
So the next one is going to be comic book related.
All right.
So it looks like, and I'm getting this from Superhero Hype, it looks like the Clown Prince of Crime is getting another henchwench to keep him company. DC has just given readers their first glimpse at Punchline, a new villain who's about to make her debut in the pages of the ongoing Batman series. Punchline will make her first appearance in Batman number 89, which hits stores on February 19th. She will show up in one panel in that issue before getting a proper introduction the following week in Year of the Villain, Hell Arisen number 3. Later this year, Punchline will also play a major role in the Joker War storyline, which starts in Batman number 95. DC has been hinting that this arc will serve as the final battle between the Dark Knight and his longtime nemesis. So this is the character. She has like the kind of same clown motif that the Joker has, same color scheme. She has, because, you know, with Harley, she was like more Harlequin with the red and black and stuff like that.
And then
not
later
so much
with the blue
clown.
and purple. Yep.
Yeah, but with
blue and
Punchline, yeah, she has like a purple bodysuit underneath like a green like dress, you know, thing. She has like a blue like streak in her hair. She has like clown makeup on. She looks like she's Asian as well.
That's what
too.
I was thinking.
Yeah.
She kind of looks Asian.
Yeah. And she's sexy as shit. Like, the way they drew her, I was like, okay, I see y'all. I'm like, Joker fucks.
Looking old and
yeah. Well, it was funny because when you sent me this, I was like, the Joker fucks. I was like, the Joker, he know how to pick him some ass. Like, I don't know what it is about this green hair and red lips, but Joker be getting some hoes, I guess.
I guess.
But I mean, I'm excited to see what they do with this character. Hopefully they don't give them a relationship like him and Harley had.
Yeah.
Hopefully she's more his equal. You know, like she's just as evil and crazy and would beat the shit out of him, you know, just as soon as he would beat the shit out of her. Like, if you're going to make it a toxic relationship, make them equally toxic.
Right.
And don't just make him like this domineering, abusive, you know,
predator asshole. Yeah.
Right. And, you know, because they've moved Harley away from the Joker in the comics and shit. Like, she done teamed up with Batman and Catwoman and shit. So she off doing some superhero shit now. So, yeah.
She's still in that
I don't necessarily
anti-venom or anti-hero league.
thing,
I was going to say anti-venom. No, the anti-hero league.
The only thing, I don't know, like, I'm of the mind that I don't feel that the Joker needs a girlfriend.
I don't think so.
I mean, I don't know why they introduced her in the animated series in the first place, but it caught on and everybody liked her. So,
yeah,
you know,
it did.
In retrospect, yeah, it was a good idea, but I don't necessarily think it was necessary for the character.
No, I don't
and
think
I don't think
so.
he needs one now either.
No, I definitely don't think he needs one now. Especially since we've had 80 years of Batman and Joker's been his number one villain, 90% of that? At least. So I think the relationship dynamic between Batman and Joker is enough on its own.
Yeah.
There's so much material there.
Yep.
Like, you have origin stories, and you have how many times can I let him get away, and then, you know, you have the little darker Batman where he like threatens to kill the Joker, and, you know, we've got guns and knives and all that kind of being introduced. So there's so much dynamic between Batman and Joker that I don't think that Joker needs his own side relationship thing. I mean, if he had like friendships between him and the other villains, that would kind of be cool. But I don't think that he necessarily needs that relationship dynamic to him.
Yeah, no, I agree.
He's like somebody with multiple personality disorder.
Right.
He's got like 100 personalities already. I don't think that we as readers don't need him to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna like have this girlfriend, whatever. I don't think we need that. But I mean, it's cool to see.
Yeah, and I think it's just a way for the writers to try and go like, you know, you can only just write like, okay, Joker is crazy, does crazy shit, you know, for so long to where it's like, okay, we need a new dynamic to his character and to give him some kind of
like a purpose,
a little bit more depth, you know, by making him more layered as a character. So it's like, sure. So I mean, like I say, it's all going to depend on how they write her,
right? You
know, so that's what's and how they write their relationship to each other, like how they interact with each other.
I'm with you though. I wish that it would not be. If they're going to introduce somebody new, I want it to be completely different than Harley and the Joker.
Yeah, like I don't ever want to see that relationship again. Like I do,
with
never
anything.
Again. Yeah, because that was not a good look on any front. So, but yeah. So that's gonna be it for movie news this week. I don't have an outro for this thing, so bye.
Punchline? Seriously? Sigh. Guys, come on, you're not even trying.
Heard you were goon in the bitch, wow, swear my dog. Never knew you like that, never knew you like that. Never knew you like that, never knew you like that.
It's that time again for America's #1 show, Dumb Shit of the Week. That's right, Dumb Shit of the Week is a show where DJ Melly Mel finds dumb shit and we talk about it. Want your submission on the show? Find us on Twitter at GiantLeap4Geeks, or you can email us at officialoglfg@gmail.com. Now here's your host, DJ Melly Mel.
Thank you. All right, so on dumb shit this week, I don't know if this come out before the Oscars or after.
Mm-hmm.
If it come out before, then it definitely led to some source material for Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
If it came out after, then I think that just some weird freaky shit's going on.
Okay.
So, according to a key member of PETA,
Okay.
and everybody knows PETA is the people that like protect the animals.
Mm-hmm.
The organization feels that the word pet is derogatory term, and they are suggesting that people should stop using it to refer to their animals, since it is not animal-friendly language. A lot of people at home who have dogs or cats will call them pets and refer to themselves as owners.
I like
Both-
master.
both
Thank
in
you very
quotes.
much. Uh-huh.
This implies that the animals are a possession, like a car.
Mm-hmm.
When you refer to your animals not as the living beings that they are, but as inanimate objects, it reflects our treatment on these animals and hurts the animals' feelings. I swear to God, that is what she says.
It hurts his awe.
It hurts
Aw.
the animals' feelings.
Parker, am I hurting your feelings by calling you my pet boy? Well, I call you by human terminology more than anything. I call him boy.
Right,
And by
right.
human name.
Right.
I don't- I mean, I refer to him as my pet to other people. That doesn't even make fucking sense.
No,
I don't tell him he's my pet. What the fuck? Oh my God.
This is on Good Morning Britain.
Ooh,
So,
Jesus, give me the strength, please, Lord. Oh, to deal with
This is not the
biggity
first
bullshit.
time that PETA has suggested using a new word or phrase to be less animal-centric. They...
But wait, though, wait. I'm still confused because I don't. Pet is not a term that you would use for an inanimate object. I don't call my laptop my pet. I don't call my car my pet. I'm
No,
like,
I
it's-
don't know.
That's
Pet
so
should
dumb.
be a word in
yes,
of
they are
itself.
sentient living beings. Yes, they think they have wants and needs and all that. Yes, I understand that. Okay, continue. I'm sorry.
They would like to announce that they don't necessarily hate the word pet, but they would like to encourage people to use companion instead.
Yeah, but then it sounds like you're saying shit like my life partner or something. It's like now you gotta
Right.
explain. Like, no, I'm my dog, and it's fine if it was. I don't have anything. Look, man, my pet. Fuck all that shit. All right.
She goes on to say a bunch of other bullshit. I'm just like,
That
okay.
is so
First of all,
weird.
my dog is probably treated better than some humans on this planet.
I'm
okay?
sure of it. Yeah.
She sleeps in my bed. I give her like fancy food. She also eats her assortment of human foods. And my dog has never went hungry.
Nope.
She gets a bath all the time. She gets brushed all the time. You know, I play tug of war with her even when I don't want to. She climbs up in my lap and sits on my lap. Like, for those of you who know me personally, you've seen pictures on Facebook. Like, she just sits her butt in my lap. This dog has a life jacket and 2 sweaters, so she can change her outfit every couple of weeks. What more? You know, she goes for car rides. She knows when she goes for car rides, too.
This is gonna sound bad. My dog drinks bottled water.
Yeah, no.
And not because I'm like hoity-toity or anything like that. We
No,
have
but
well
you live
water,
close
and
to
our
Flint.
our water sucks here. It
my mom,
tastes terrible.
my
but
mom's dog lives in Davison, and
everybody in this house drinks bottled
that's
water.
close to
so,
Flint too, and he drinks bottled water
Yeah,
and ice cube. He eats ice cubes.
yeah, but still, the point is though.
Like I treat my dog very, very well.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
granted, not everybody in America shares that, but
Yeah.
a lot of people that I know, their dog is like their family, or their cat is like their
Right,
family.
and it's like, and look,
What else are we going to use the word pet for?
Exactly. It's like, if I'm not referring to my and then just the whole concept of them trying to say like we own them. It's like, well, legally, yes, I do own them. I am their owner. I'm like, if I was your parent, I am your, I mean, they would say
Your guardian, but still.
I own you in the eyes of the law unless I do something to neglect you or abuse you.
I can make decisions
until
for
you're
you.
of age.
Right.
You are my property, my responsibility. You are mine. You are an asset.
Right.
It's like, that isn't meant to be derogatory or mean or anything like that. It's just
But at
the same time, animals don't give a fuck, man.
No. Have you ever looked at a dog and as long as you love on them, give them some food and give them a place to fucking sleep, they're good.
Look. Now with certain animals, I could see you maybe making an argument like, I wouldn't necessarily call a lion my pet.
Some people do, but whatever.
Yes, I own that, but I don't know, like pet, at least that terminology
domesticated
to me feels, I mean, you can domesticate just about anything. I mean, people got fucking sloths that live in their house.
I would say I didn't
ferrets
used
and all
to take
kind of
care of a
crazy
lady.
shit, so.
She had a 600-pound pig that was her pet.
Yeah, Michael Jackson had an orangutan or whatever kind of monkey as a pet, so
Yeah,
giraffes and all kind of shit.
Yeah.
So, but pet, at least in my mind, doesn't necessarily mean domesticated, but just means like it is something, an animal of some kind that is small enough and docile enough to where you aren't in danger really having them with you. Now, yes, your dog could go crazy and turn on you and kill you. That's the thing that dogs haven't figured out yet, that humans are really easy to kill and we taste really good. but it's like once they do figure it out, we're going to be fucked, right? But cats and birds and all that kind of shit, you can just throw them out the fucking window. It's fine. Dogs are a little bit more tricky to try and get around. But I would not call a bear or a lion or like a wolf or something a pet, because they at any moment could easily kill me with no kind of resistance from me whatsoever.
I don't know. People call boa constrictors their pets. And
well, see, stuff like that. It's my animal. I own it, but pet. Like I said, it's something more docile. Like, I can overpower this if need be.
Right. It's not going to kill me.
Yeah, like a gorilla is not a pet. Like, that's just like an animal in your cage out in the backyard that just chose not to break your fucking neck today.
Right.
like he chose not to kill you at this moment.
Right.
But yeah, Peter, shut the fuck up, man. It's like, see, it's this kind of silly shit that makes people not want to help their causes and all that kind of stuff and make fun of them. It's because y'all do shit like this.
Oh, I didn't see this part. I just happened to flick the rest of the article down. And in big red letters, in quotes, animals are not pets. They are not your cheap burglar alarm or something which allows you to have an excuse to get out for a walk. They are not ours as decorations or toys. They are living beings. How we say things governs how we think about them. So a tweak in our language when we talk about the animals in our home is needed.
Shouldn't have pets in the first place.
No, fuck that.
It's like if you need to change your terminology to make you not treat your animal like shit, then you probably don't need to have an animal.
Yeah, you need to be on the
anyway.
registry for no animals.
Exactly.
Which I don't think is a thing, but should be a thing. But
let's make one. One Giant Leap for Geeks is announcing today. No,
registry.
That whole all of that, everything about that is stupid.
Yeah, I thought so. I had a couple of options this week for dumb shit, and I was sitting getting my nails done the other day, and I was like, oh, this'll work. Oh, this'll work. And then throughout the week, I was like, all right, this'll work. All right, T-Money sent me something that, I have like weeks worth of just material for the next
lucky.
couple weeks. But this took the cake. I was like, what the hell? And oddly enough, this was the story I found 6 hours ago, so
nice.
It's always how it goes.
It's topical.
Yeah, it's always how it goes.
Yeah.
But I was just like, what the hell? Like, my dog has never been offended because I call her my pet.
No, and like I said, we're laser focusing on that part, and I get what they're trying to say. They're like, hey, they're trying to change people's mindsets about how they see their pets. I get it. Yeah, I said it again. I'm gonna keep saying it.
Yeah, I don't
Motherfucking
know.
pet is in y'all name. Shut the fuck up. I call
Right.
Peter. I'm like, you drop that A, pet. Fuck you. Change your name and then come talk to me about changing my language. Like, but I understand the point that they're trying to make. We're being hyperbolic and funny.
Sure,
but
sure.
It's still kind of stupid.
It's still very stupid.
Yeah.
I think, and I'm probably going to get a lot of backlash for this, but it doesn't reflect the show. It's just my opinion. I think there are a lot of things where somebody has gotten offended about it and they're like, hey, we need to change this because we have to change the thinking. Can't we just change the thinking and leave some of the things, like silly things like this?
Sure.
I'm not saying like, oh yeah, we need to leave rape culture alone or anything like that.
No.
But like silly things like this, other than cats, dogs, birds, small rodents.
Right.
What else? Unless you're into some weird kinky shit, you don't call anything else your pet.
Yeah, that's fair.
So this is already a term that's designated for animals in our lives that, like you said, can't, kill us and we can kind of overpower.
Yeah.
An animal that we are responsible for.
Mm.
So why can't we just call it a pet? Can't we look at pet as like a special term as opposed to something negative?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, the term pet has a loving connotation to it in the first place, because when you talk about your significant other or your friend or something like that, when you have a special relationship with somebody, like, oh, our pet names for each other.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like there is no negative connotation behind the word pet. It's like, unless you are purposefully trying to be like, like, oh, you're my pet, and like patting somebody on the head kind of thing. You can make it negative if you try, but for the most part, when someone says pet, I mean, I have positive thoughts and vibes about that.
I do
so,
also.
I don't know. Shut up, Peter.
Yeah. So, I guess I don't know. I guess the moral of the story is...
I'm waiting because I'm like, I want to hear this.
Fucking watch your tone on how you say shit, I guess.
Look, don't abuse your animals.
Yes. Clearly don't abuse your animals. That shouldn't have to be said. Unfortunately, it does.
And that's all.
Love on your pets, and I guess if it hurts their feelings, then love on them some more.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the one thing in this world that is always happy to see you, will always love you until the day it dies, and depends on you for its survival for the most part.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're going to take on that responsibility, be ready for what comes with that. If not, there's plenty of families that would be happy to take it off your hands. And yeah.
That's it for dumb shit, because I think that we've talked about this long enough. If you have any suggestions for dumb shit of the week, you can email us at officialoglfg@gmail.com. You can also send them to me directly via Twitter at Froggy Beaver, or at the show at 1GiantLeap4 Geeks. That's all I got.
Okay, so let me get this straight. If I'm not a pet, or a companion, or a life partner, what does that make me? You said your actual name was Master. What do you mean it's your title? Does that mean I'm a slave? What the actual fuck?
I want to congratulate and also frown upon our boy.
Okay.
So,
which boy are you talking about? Because we got a few of them. You got to kind of be a little more specific.
More specific. Fair enough. That's a little vague. I got you. Jordan Peele started going from comedy into horror. I was a little apprehensive because I'm like, man, I don't know. Like, is this gonna, really work out? Like, I'm kind of iffy about it. But he gave us Get Out, and Us, and he's also doing I think he's the showrunner of the Twilight Zone series that they brought back. So I mean, he's done well in the horror genre.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm congratulating him because he has kind of opened the door for other comedic, actors or people from comedic backgrounds to come in and start doing horror stuff as well. For example, our favorite horror movie that we saw in 2018,
Halloween.
Yes, which was executive produced by Danny McBride.
Yes.
And he comes from a comedy background.
He does, actually.
So it was interesting, to see like these comedians, can cross into these genres. And that's totally fine. Like, there's no reason to pigeonhole somebody into one genre because that's what you know them best for. But I'm going to frown upon it a little bit too because now it may have opened the floodgates to now just everybody wants to just start doing horror stuff. And I don't necessarily know if everybody is fit to do horror. So our next contestant in this little game or experiment, I guess, is Chris Rock. Now, he is executive producing and starring in Spiral from the Book of Saw, is what they're calling it. So it's a sequel, spin-off, maybe soft reboot. It's kind of hard to say of the Saw franchise. And
yeah, I mean, we kind of didn't get a lot in the trailer. I mean, we got a lot in the trailer.
Sure.
But not a lot to the storyline.
No. And this is the first trailer, so I mean, maybe with the second one we'll get a little bit more. But I'm sure they're kind of playing it close to the vest because they don't want to give away too much.
I'm sure. With these movies, there is a lot that's
like shrouded in mystery and plot twist, and it was this person the whole time. And
I did like the callback, the scene with the saw in his hand.
Yeah. They called back with that ending shot in the trailer all the way back to the first Saw movie, which I like. I enjoy the first Saw a lot. Everyone after that, my enjoyment progressively went down.
Really?
Yeah.
Like
the second one, is that the one? Is the second one where they're all in the house together and the girl gets pushed into the thing of needles? There's like heroin needles in like a pit.
That's not the second one. I think that's like the fourth one.
Either way. I've been over them movies for quite some time. I don't even think I've seen the most recent one.
T-Money and I like them all. We had all of them all at one point. We found it at like Walmart or a thrift store or something. We found like an 8-pack and it was all of them. Jesus. And we binge watched all of them in one weekend. It was great.
Oh man.
It was like one right after another after another. It was great.
No. But with this, it seems like they're kind of going in like a different direction. This was Chris Rock's idea for the story, and he pitched it to the studio, and he's executive producing it, and he's also starring it. He's like, fuck that shit. I'm gonna make money on both ends of this shit, on the back and front end. I'm in this shit and I'm behind the scenes. But One of the things I picked up in the trailer that I did like was it felt like it was a part of the Saw universe, like the way everything's shot and like the color palette, which is very similar to 7, which this gave me a lot of vibes of 7, more so 7 than Saw because they didn't really like the visual aesthetic reminded me of Saw, but it is at least as far as like the color palette and stuff, but as far as how things were shot and just like the staging of the scenes and stuff like that, it reminded me a lot of 7.
Yes.
Like if Brad Pitt would have popped up talking about what's in the box, like I would have totally been like, yep, okay, this is all the same movie.
Well, I mean, the original Saw kind of did have a feel like 7.
Kind of, sort of.
I mean, not so much the later ones. They kind of got about blood, guts, and gore. But, like, the first one.
Sure.
Danny Glover. And that felt like 7.
Sure. Yeah, because there was a little bit of mystery, like, trying to figure out, like, okay, who is this person? Why are they doing this? And kind of, giving the backstory of how these people ended up in that position in the first place and everything else. So, yeah. It's kind of weird. But They also have, besides Chris Rock, they also have Samuel L. Jackson in this as well.
Yes.
And I'm really interested to see like what the dynamic between them two are going to be, which I'm hoping that they get screen time together.
Yeah, that would be great.
Because I in the trailer, we never see them two together.
No.
And in the synopsis, I was reading, and it's something about Chris Rock is something about following in the footsteps of Samuel L. Jackson's detective character.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the scenes that we see with him maybe like earlier in the movie or something like that. I think that by the time we catch up to Chris Rock's character, that Samuel L. Jackson is either dead or he's in a trap.
Right.
And that Chris Rock is going to have to try and save him or find him. And I did think it's interesting in this that they made it a point to say, like, oh, you know, the killer is going after cops. And I was like, that's an interesting little tweak, especially because finding out, I know, like I said, in one of the Saws that you find out that one of the cops has been Jigsaw behind the scenes this whole time, or like Jigsaw was doing the traps, but it was always set up, it was supposed to have been always set up to where they could actually get out, because that was the thing that I never understood about Saw movies. I'm like, he always made it seem like he was doing this to try and teach them a lesson, but it was like, you don't ever give them an opportunity to actually learn anything because you kill them by the end. So it's like, what are they learning if they always die by the end?
They don't always die, though.
But it would not because they weren't supposed to, but out of some either dumb luck or they were in on the shit or something like that. Like, I know in one of them that they explained that Jigsaw made the traps to where if they did what they were supposed to do, they could get out of it.
Yeah.
But then the one cop would booby trap it into such a way to where they would die anyway.
That was one of the later ones.
Yeah. So then it retroactively changes all the other movies and makes it like, oh, okay, so that's why they always end up dying so much, is because he was back there like, no, you gonna die anyway. Like, even if you do find the key and the shards of glass and, you know, eat acid and all this other crazy shit we made you do, I'm still gonna make sure that you die. Because isn't there one where the guy, he has to crawl through the barbed wire or whatever? Yep. Yeah, and like they showed him, he did something to make it to where he couldn't get it through it or some shit like that.
Yeah, there was one after Jigsaw died,
Mm-hmm.
one of the people who survived the traps kept going.
Yeah.
And they...
Wasn't it the girl?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was the one that got pushed into the heroin needles and shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was a junkie, yeah.
But they kept going, and they lost the vengeance that he had actually had.
Yeah, because he was actually doing it for, like, trying to redeem these people.
Right.
Like,
he had a twisted redemption.
Yeah,
and hers, she was just angry and fucking wanted to kill everybody.
Yeah. So like they're taking a different route with the they're targeting cops. So I don't know if it's the same thing, like trying to make a commentary on maybe, police shootings or police brutality and stuff like that. Or maybe, they just don't like cops. I don't know. Like maybe they're targeting the cops because they're like, oh, you've done bad things and this, that, and the other, and you need to be taught a lesson. Who fucking knows? We both enjoyed the trailer, though. I thought it looked good. And the only thing I'm just worried about is, am I going to be able to take Chris Rock seriously as an actor? Like a serious actor?
I mean, he doesn't have that high-pitched, squeaky voice like he usually does.
Mm-hmm, sure.
And he's not doing that weird face, like, I can't even do it. And if I try to do
where he shows all his teeth and gets all bug-eyed.
Yeah,
and
if
shit,
he tries to do, if I try to do a Chris Rock impression, it's going to be horrible. But you know what I'm talking about, where he, like sucks his lips in and has these big old huge eyes, and he's, like, very animated.
Right. Exaggerating
he's exaggerating his movements and his speech, and he like gets that weird high squeaky pitch voice. And
See, so he, not that I don't think that he can't play a serious role. I'm just not sure if he can play a serious role and carry a movie.
I just think that we've not seen him in a serious role.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Either
to have something
ever,
to go off of. Yeah.
But in a long time.
Yeah, especially for him to be the main actor as well, and not like a supporting character. Now, maybe they're going to try and offset that with Sam Jackson's character by going, okay, we'll put him in here too, and that'll kind of balance it out.
Maybe.
Because we kind of jump back and forth between these stories.
I mean, Sam Jackson can be a lot more calm and serious.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of Sam Jackson movies that he's got that same weird, like,
Yeah.
over exaggerated and
Well,
got to be
yeah.
funny and stuff like that.
Well, I did appreciate the fact that they let him. They found a way to incorporate motherfucker into this shit somehow, some way. 'Cause,
that was probably his doing.
like Jigsaw, his whole shtick is like, "Oh, would you like to play a game?" And Sam's like, "You want to play games, motherfucker?" Like that shit had me in tears. I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "That's basically his line from Snakes on the Plane." Like, I'm tired of these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane. But yeah, no, it comes out May 15th, I believe. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I'm willing to go into it with open-minded and no preconceived notions of what it should be like, because again, I'm Oversaw, so if they can make a decent movie, I'll be happy. At this point, I'm just like, we'll see though. All right, moving on.
Hopefully there's a scene in this where Sam Jackson says, "Say, do you want to play a game again? I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. Say, do you want to play a game again?"
Audible 2456.
As I had said earlier at the beginning, I streamed during the Oscars on Sunday, and I watched it while I was doing the stream. And so if you guys want to go check out my reactions to the whole thing, it's over on Twitch now. But it was so whack. Like the whole
That's why
ceremony.
I don't watch fucking award shows. I don't watch Oscars. I don't watch the Grammys. I don't watch none of that shit.
It's so whack and corny and cringy as fuck.
Yeah,
man. Like, okay,
not my style.
There was a few moments where there were some jokes I thought were kind of funny. There were some performances that I did like one that I didn't care for, though, was Eminem came out and performed Lose Yourself. Mm-hmm. Now, I saw people on Twitter were confused, like, why is Eminem performing at the Grammys? I'm like, well, because Lose Yourself won Grammy for, like, best song in a movie.
2003.
Yeah, in 2003, yeah.
Yep.
And I'm like...
And Eminem didn't go to the Grammys.
Yeah, he didn't go that year because, for one, he didn't think it was going to win, and two... They wanted him to perform the song, but he wouldn't because they wanted him to censor it.
Right.
Which he did this year, and they did censor it. And because I was streaming, I was kind of like looking down at the screen occasionally, but more so listening to it. And I was like, is he like out of breath? Or like, what's happening? Because like every like fifth word, it would just cut out. And I'm just like, is he not saying all the words? But I think he was censoring himself.
He was. And
I'm like, what? There's not. That's one of his more tame songs, to be honest. I know he has the line where he says, "Ted his motherfucking roof off," but I'm like, he don't even swear that much in that song.
So the story behind that is, this is actually one that I found quite interesting. As I said, I don't watch any kind of award shows. Sure. But everybody was talking about, oh my God, Eminem's Oscar performance. And Eminem went on the record yesterday or today, and he said the reason that he chose to perform at the Oscars was because back in 2003, his song did win an Oscar in 8 Mile, and he didn't go because he was in that whole, oh, fuck this, fuck that, I'm not gonna... So,
I'm not gonna be a part of this bullshit.
He didn't want to conform to anything. So he didn't go, and he sent somebody in his place to accept his award. Well, fast forward, what?
Almost 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah, almost.
He's grown up a little bit now, and...
Yeah, he got a beard now. You didn't see that?
Yeah, I did see that. Lost the blonde and everything.
Yeah.
He has gotten to a point where he is more grateful for like where he kind of started, and he's more grateful for things now. And so he felt like it was necessary to come back and kind of not necessarily redeem himself, but more along the lines just grow
show
up.
Appreciation.
Yeah, it's just he did receive this award, and he wanted to do right by the Oscars.
Okay, that's cool. That's
so
cool.
that was kind of cool.
Yeah, the performance was whack, though. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it
and
was
he
rough.
was censoring himself because that's what they asked.
Yeah, it was just rough, and I was just like, man, like if y'all was gonna do that, I'd rather him just not even done
the
it.
crowd was singing more than he was.
Yeah, and it was funny because like when they would like do shots of the crowd, like some people was like really. It was funny because like the younger people or people like closer to our age was like
They were into it.
but then like the older people like Martin Scorsese, he was like they got a shot of him when he just had his eyes closed and he was just like, what the fuck is going on?
And then
he was like, this is supposed to be about cinema.
Right. They got a shot of Billie Eilish, and she kind of was confused.
Yeah.
And I thought it was hilarious because I can't stand Billie Eilish.
Now,
she's the chick with the green hair.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, she is how old?
18.
Yeah, so she
17.
was 1
17, 18.
or just being born when that song came out. So she probably has no context of that it won an Oscar or anything else. She's just like, why is he here performing this right now? Yeah.
Yeah, so her
Or
face...
maybe she was like, why is he censoring himself? Like, I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know. Can't stand her. But her look was just like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, like what is happening right now?
And then it was just crazy.
Yeah, and then we had some other moments where Rebel Wilson and James Corden came up dressed as their characters from Cats and shit and was presenting the award for best visual effects, which
that's
Endgame was nominated for one award.
Yes.
And that was for best visual effects. And lost to the First Man, something like that. I don't know. I think it was that Ryan Gosling movie about going to the moon or something like that.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah. I didn't see it either. But whatever. Either way, I'm just like, okay, so now we're gonna gyp Endgame for its fucking visual effects award, the one nomination it got. Like, come on, man. Like
Endgame had great visual effects.
I was going to say, I mean, between that final fight with all the every Marvel character that's been shown on screen so far, fighting all of Thanos' army, that scene alone.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think Martin Scorsese paid somebody off to be like, this is not
Don't
winning.
vote for this bullshit. We ain't giving Marvel jack shit.
Right.
One of my... And they started the award ceremony out the gate. Like, we ain't even finna pretend. Like, I believe Brad Pitt won first for Best Supporting Actor for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And he comes up there, and the first thing he says is, he was like, they told me I have 45 seconds up here for this. And he goes, that's 45 more seconds than what the Senate gave John Bolton to testify. And I was like,
damn.
Oh, my God. I was like, Matt, we coming right out the gate swinging. Like, yep. So if you were hoping, they were going to just be vanilla and it's not going to be about politics or anything like that, nope. I'm like, they put a stop to that shit immediately.
I mean, I kind of figured that this was going to be the year of politics. There was a fucking
it's
Trump
an election
ad.
year. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's an election year.
Yeah,
but there was a fucking Trump
impeachment
ad in the middle of the Super Bowl during the middle of an impeachment.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I don't think that we're gonna get away from that this year.
It was interesting. But one of the most, it was really cringy and it was weird and like not funny. And it was funny because they kept making reference to the fact that, there was no host and the drama that happened with Kevin Hart and his Twitter and all that shit and how they, asked him not to come and yada, yada, yada. And then, talking about how there was no like women directors nominated for anything. And then, making reference to Oscar So White and all this other kind of stuff. Matter of fact, Oscar Isaac and Selma Hayek came on stage to present an award. And she said, I never thought I'd be able to, I can finally say I've been on this stage holding an Oscar, because she was holding Oscar Isaac's hand. And he was like, I guess Oscar is not so white now. And I was like, man, I was like, they going hard. So the weirdest part though of the entire night, and we watched the entire acceptance speech.
Oh my God.
So Joker was nominated for 11 awards and it won for best
4
score.
of them, didn't it?
No, I think it won best score.
Best actor.
Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix won best actor, and I think it might have got screenplay. No, I'm sorry, Parasite. I'm pretty sure got screenplay. Parasite got 6 awards. They got best director and picture, I believe. But Joker, Joaquin Phoenix won Best Actor for Joker, and his acceptance speech was 4 minutes long and was probably the most weirdest, like, stream of consciousness. Like, I mean, the only thing I can compare it to was when Trump held his press conference after his impeachment and just rambled for an hour and a half. Like, it was just so weird. Like, okay. He gets up there and he begins to talk about how grateful he is to, you know, win this award and how he doesn't feel elevated above anybody else in the category, anybody else in this room, yada, yada, yada. And then he starts to talk about how grateful he is to have a platform, to have a voice for the voiceless, and how he's been thinking about how we're out of touch with the balance of nature. And he talks about, you know, how we have commonalities in all of our injustices that we're trying to, you know, fight against, you know, whether it be queer rights or you know, against racism or, you know, sexism, whatever, you know, your cause may be. Like, we're all fighting against some kind of injustice.
Right.
And then he goes into how he doesn't feel that any one race or gender or species should dominate another with impunity. And that's where it kind of started getting weird.
It got a little weird, and then what followed was a lot weird.
Yes.
The whole cow mentioning, he's like, we artificially inseminate a cow, and then we
take her baby.
And we take the milk that's intended for her cow or her calf.
You put it in our coffee.
Put it in our... Yeah, he literally says, we take her milk and put it in our coffee.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I don't know about
not wanting to change things because it's inconvenient.
Weird,
and it was just,
he's
I don't
making
know.
these weird faces. And...
Yeah, and okay, so... Go look it up on YouTube. Watch Joaquin Phoenix Oscar speech. Watch the whole 4 minutes. You will see what I'm talking about. So it was weird. Okay, I you know, fine. Joaquin Phoenix is kind of a weird dude, but whatever. The thing that makes this so odd to me though is I think he's trolling us. I think he's legitimately fucking with us. And I will make my case for why. A few years back, Joaquin Phoenix announced that he was going to quit acting and become a rapper. He didn't do any movies. He was like, he had a press conference. He was on like the Tonight Show and all this other kind of stuff. And he was talking about his album that he's working on. He performed some songs at a club, got in a fight with a guy.
How did I miss all this?
Because they said he couldn't rap, you know, this, that, and the other. Like I said, this was like in the early 2000s, probably like 2006, 2007, somewhere in there.
Oh, okay, that's how I missed all this.
And he just you know, like stayed in character for over a year. Damn. Doing this, and come to find out it was all a part he was playing for this mockumentary that he was doing with Casey Affleck, Ben Affleck's brother. And I forget what it was called, but yeah, it was basically all just bullshit. You know, and he kept up this front, and people kept trying to call, like, man, we don't believe you. You're not going to quit acting and be a rapper. Like, you know, this is all crazy, like, yada, yada, yada. But he just kept, he kept, you know, repeating his whole shtick. And, you know, he went and performed shows, and people would see him in public, and he was like, yeah, I'm not acting no more, yada, yada. But it was all bullshit. So now I'm like, is he trolling us again? Because one of the things he did when he gets up on stage is he says, I wanted to talk about some of the distressing things in this world. Yeah, he said, I've been thinking a lot about some of the distressing things in this world, and he kind of smirks.
Yeah, he does that weird Joker smirk.
Yeah, he kind of smirks when he says that. And that was, and he kind of like puts his hands over his face, and he's rubbing his face a lot while he's talking. And it almost feels like he's trying to like suppress laughter. And he just makes references like to, all these people in this room, you know, can understand, you know, this and you're like, we all got some kind of cause. And I think he was making fun of the fact that everybody gets up there and makes some kind of platitudes about some injustice in the world or something or other, but never actually talks about what they're going to do about it. Like, it wouldn't bother me if you make an acceptance speech for something and you go up there and you want to talk about, famine in some country, disease, something like that. And then at the end of your speech, you say, and that's why I'm starting the Brad Pitt Foundation to do da-da-da-da-da-da and help da-da-da-da-da-da. And if you want to help me, go to da-da-da-da-da.org.
Right. Plug yourself in.
And in that way, you've brought attention to the topic and use this platform to do that. And you have some kind of action plan to try and change something. But don't just get up there and just go, the world sucks. Yeah, man, we know. Like,
right.
Now, we may not have known about this specific sucky thing that you're referencing right now, but unless you finna also say, and this is what we should do to change it, or this is what I'm going to start doing, and who's going to join me, or whatever. If not, then just take the fucking award and get the fuck off the stage. Like Ricky Gervais said, just shut the fuck up, take your shit, and get the fuck on.
Right.
So I don't know. I think he might have been trolling.
Could be.
I'm not 100% sure, but it kind of felt trollish to me.
And then what was with the whole stutter thing? I know that
he was real awkward.
He was real trying to talk about his brother in some quote that his brother had said.
Some will run with love and peace will follow. Or
I don't know.
Yeah.
His stutter distracted me from what he was actually trying to say. So I don't know if maybe he was trying to hold back emotion, or if he's still like rattled from Joker, I don't know what was going on with that speech, but that was the weirdest thing I pride myself on being a weird person, and that was the weirdest thing that I have ever seen. And I don't know, it's just
and also when he gets up there, he's like, hey, thanks, hey, sup?
Yeah,
and I'm like, what?
First of all, you like a 55-year-old dude. You should not be saying sup to anybody.
It was so odd, man. And like, he didn't even like acknowledge any of like the other like actors or anything like that when they were all standing and applauding him and stuff like that. And he just kind of shuffles up to the stage and he's all weird and just dejected. And I don't know, like his whole demeanor was off. That's why I'm like, I feel like he was fucking trolling.
I'm sure.
I really feel like he was trolling, but I don't know. We'll never know. Who knows? Maybe he's making another mockumentary or something. I don't know.
I guess. Not quite sure.
Other than that, though, the ceremony just, I don't know. It felt like it was more like, hey, look at all these musical performances we got than anything else. Because it's like, well, we don't have a host to come up here and monologue and tell jokes and shit. So the presenters, we just have them tell some corny ass jokes. We play some songs and then we just move on to the next thing. Like, they didn't air all of the categories. It ran long as shit. Even though they cut out a bunch of categories that they didn't air. It was just like in between commercials. It's like, okay, now you get this award, shut the fuck up, get out. And I guess they got to eat pizza during the show, too, because it was National Pizza Day.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, they all got served pizza in the audience. And I was like, now, half of these motherfuckers is bulimic or anorexic and shit and won't eat this shit or finna be in the bathroom throwing this shit the fuck up the moment they walk away.
Right. Oh, I'm gluten-free.
Right. Oh, well, I'm trying to watch my carbs. I better stop. And somebody's going to be like, bitch, you did that shit, too.
Yeah, and I'm starting to do it now, but we're not celebrities.
Yeah, that's fair. Right?
If we fall off,
I don't have a cook and a personal trainer.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I might
steroids.
Have T-Money's a cook, but if we fall off the wagon, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah, we're just off the wagon.
We're just off the wagon.
The wagon just keeps going.
Right. If celebrities fall off the wagon, it seems like the entire fucking world cares.
Yeah.
And
I don't know what my theory is, give it another 5 years and they're probably just going to stop airing the Oscars.
I've heard that award shows are winding down because of lack of viewers.
Yeah.
Like that was one of the reasons they didn't have a host this year. They had hit all-time low in 2017 and I don't remember who the host was, but last year, I think 2017, I think they said they had like 18 million viewers. And then last year, or 2018, I keep saying last year.
Yeah, I know.
2018, they had no host. And so they perked up to 21 million viewers. So that's why they went with it again. Like, oh, hey, let's
they're like,
try this
fuck Kevin Hart.
no host thing.
right.
And see if it boosts our
it didn't feel like it made it any better. Like, it didn't feel like there was any structure to it. It was just like, on to next thing, on to next thing, on to next thing. You know, when there's, you know, and then they have like the kind of mini presenters where it's like, hey, here's some random celebrity presenting this person that's going to come sing. I don't know. It was really cringy and it was pretty boring. And I was kind of bummed that I didn't sit all the way through to see Parasite win Best Picture. It was like midnight-ish when I stopped streaming, and I was like, yeah, I got to go to bed, man. I was like, I got to work in the morning. I can't keep sitting up trying to catch this shit. I was like, I'll see it on Twitter when I get up. So, yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, I know, you know, film Twitter is going to, like, tear me apart for this shit, but it's like, the
They'll get over it.
Are kind of irrelevant at this point. It's like, man, if you like something, it's all subjective anyway. No one can give a good metric on what's good, what's better than something else. I'm like, especially when you're taking two things that are considered, you know, masterpieces or works of art in their particular craft, and then try to compare them to each other. It's like, look, it's all subjective. If you think Joker should have won Best Picture, then it did. Like, it don't matter. Like, none of it fucking matters. The people who win the awards don't even give a shit. So why should you
They
care?
get paid for it. So.
Yeah, it's like, whatever, man. Anyway. I'm done ranting about the Oscars. Moving on.
Okay, sounds good.
I would like to thank the Academy for this award. I would also like to take this time to talk about the recent archaeologic discovery that has been weighing heavily on me. Archaeologists have found a new species of dinosaur. It is the cousin of the Tyrannosaurus rex. They are calling it the Reaper of Death. Isn't that horrifying? I mean, I always thought the T-Rex was the most fearsome creature to have ever lived. But now to find out that it has a cousin that is even more deadly and has a much cooler name. How is this not all anyone's talking about? Don't you understand how important this is?
A kiss on the hand may be quite continental, but diamonds are a girl's best friend. I had to look that one up because I was like, okay, I know the line, but I need to hear how she says it. So if you have been living under a rock, I will give you a surprise. Birds of Prey came out over the weekend, and it is not doing too hot. Box office wise.
Okay.
So
that's kind of
was projected to make like 50 million opening weekend, and
really?
It did somewhere in the lower 30s. And yeah, so it is currently the lowest movie in the DCEU.
Really? Lower than Justice League?
Yep, lower than Shazam.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Yeah, it is the bottom. Lower than Suicide Squad, lower than Justice League, lower than Shazam.
Suicide Squad made a lot of money, though, because they had a lot.
Yeah, and Aquaman made $1 billion, so, you know, Wonder Woman made money.
I'll say Wonder Woman and Aquaman are the top of the list. Yeah. We're talking about the bottom of the list.
Yeah. I mean, look, I don't know how much Green Lantern made, but, I mean, it's down in that tier. And it's surprising because it has, in the 80s, Rotten Tomato score.
Uh-huh.
And when, at least I haven't checked lately, but I know when it first came out, like, the audience score was pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's just not doing it at the box office.
I want to say you and I actually were slightly, well, I'm not going to speak for you, but I was slightly intrigued, I guess. I liked it more than I had anticipated.
Okay.
So,
well, yeah, it's I don't know, and I mean, over 58% of the audience were male, so you know, it's not like, oh, the guys are boycotting the movie, this, that, and the other. So, and I'm sure some did. Don't get me wrong. I am certain some did, but you know, we'll get into that. But we had
5 in our group. 4 in our group, and half of that group was male.
Yeah.
And you guys went willingly. We didn't
no
drag you, beat you over the head with the club. And
even if I wasn't doing this for the podcast, I would have still went and seen it.
Right.
But. So, if you haven't listened to one of our reviews before, what we normally do is we do non-spoilers at the front and spoilers at the back. We will give you a clear indication when we go into spoilers, but there's not a whole lot to spoil, so for the most part, it'll just be like specific things at the end of this that I want to reference that I can't talk about without straight up spoiling the movie.
Sure.
So we will give our ratings at the end, and then we will go into spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, you can listen to this still without having anything room for you, or if you've watched the... God damn it, if you watched the movie, you can listen to the whole thing, no problem. Anyway, I'm continuing on.
All right, keep going.
So, one of the things that I wanted to address in this was the style of the movie.
Yes.
And I don't mean how it's shot per se. Like I like to talk about cinematography, color palettes, different things like that. But with this specifically, it is very, very shockingly similar to Suicide Squad.
Yes.
Like,
I kind of
the words on the screen,
anticipated it.
Like the flashing, like the when characters are introduced, given their bios and like, you know, what all the little stats about them and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, this feels a lot like Suicide Squad.
I kind of thought it would be, though.
Which I thought it was going to be so far removed from that. I mean, so much so to where even Warner Brothers is basically rebooting Suicide Squad. So I'm like, they've kind of gotten away from everything that they started doing with the first like 3 movies, like BVS, Justice League, and Suicide Squad. They've done a complete 180 away from that, except this. This is much more like, if this came out right after Suicide Squad, like before Aquaman and Wonder Woman,
I would
this
have
is the
no
very
doubt
next
believing
movie,
it. Oh, yeah.
I would have been like, or if you would have told me this was the very next thing in line, I would have been like, yeah. Like, I believe it because it felt like it was a natural extension of the Suicide Squad.
I agree.
And, I mean, for some people, they'll enjoy that. Other people won't. I think that style fit this movie better than it did Suicide Squad, though.
I think so.
I think this did miles better what Suicide Squad failed at doing.
Right. I agree.
Like, everything that they did in this that they also did in Suicide Squad, Birds of Prey did it much better, for sure. Though, there are elements of it, though, that reminded me of Suicide Squad in a negative way, too. Because I think the tone is a little all over the place.
A lot all over the place.
Yeah, because there's moments where it's funny. There's moments where it gets serious. And then it gets, like, just dark and kind of slimy and creepy. I mean, there's a moment where, like, a character is made to strip, and it's just weird.
Yeah, that was...
And I was just like, okay, like, are we still watching the same movie? Because it got just real, like, uncomfortable for a minute there.
Yeah, that scene was unnecessary.
Yeah.
I mean... I followed the scene, but it was still unnecessary.
Yeah, and
the point could have been made another way.
Yeah, and as well, by the end of that particular interaction, I was just like, well, that was it? I mean,
right.
Like, I was expecting, like, a big something at the end, like, okay, somebody gonna get hurt or die or something. It's just like, no, I'm just gonna embarrass you, like, which was fucked up and weird on its own, but at the same time, I was like, that was odd.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not really sure what they were trying to achieve there. So like, the tone for me is probably the biggest letdown for this movie. Like, when it's funny, it's funny. When the action scenes are going, they're good. Like, the choreography in this is really good.
The script wasn't bad either.
No, like, and the plot is pretty straightforward. Like, just to give you kind of like a little bit of context, Harley and the Joker obviously broke up. And now that Harley is not under the Joker's protection, all the people she's ever wronged are now like, we coming after your ass now. So, like, anybody she's ever, you know, beat up, stole some shit from, this, that, and the other that couldn't fuck with her because they didn't want to get killed by the Joker, now it's just free reign to do whatever. And, you know, she ends up involved with other characters along the way, and they all have their own stories, and they all kind of converge upon each other.
Yes. I had an issue with the whole name.
Oh, yeah. Jesus, tell the people if they don't know, because we just call it Birds of Prey because I'm not saying all that other shit.
It is Birds of Prey, the Emancipation...
No.
No, I'm sorry.
No, you're missing the word.
I did.
Birds of Prey.
Birds of Prey.
And the
fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn. See, it's so long that even when I shorten it, that ain't the whole shit. Like,
it's so dumb, man. It's like, why? Like,
T Money said that too. He's like, what the fuck? That name is like 8 million years long.
yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
And not even the length of the name. Okay, the length of the name is one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like how they called it Birds of Prey.
Because it's not their movie.
Because it's not about...
This is Harley's
You
movie.
get like 45 seconds about the Birds of Prey collectively as a team.
Yeah, uh-huh.
The rest of it is Harley's movie.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You could have just called it Harley Quinn. You could have just called it Harley.
Yeah,
You
Harley
coulda-
the movie. Yeah.
You just could have called it something other.
Or drop the Birds of Prey and just call it the Fantabulous Emancipation of
Right.
One Harley Quinn.
Right.
And I would have been like, okay, cool.
I'd have been good with that.
Yeah.
Like I said, you mentioned the Birds of Prey together collectively for like 45 seconds on screen.
Mm-hmm.
And for people who don't know these characters,
Yeah, it's
they spend the entire movie like, okay, why are these specific characters special?
Right.
Why do they have fancy names?
Mm-hmm.
And who cares?
most of the movie for the supporting cast is set up for
Right.
them. They don't become the character you know
Until the end.
until pretty much the very end
That's what
of
I mean. The
movie.
last 45 minutes or
Yeah,
45 seconds of the
yeah,
movie.
Yeah. So it's like to call it Birds of Prey is very misleading. It's more so Harley Quinn and like a couple other people who just kind of bump into each other periodically throughout the movie. Like it's not.
I'd have been better if they called it that.
Yeah.
Harley Quinn and her adventures
People
in
who bump into
Gotham
each
or
other
something.
periodically throughout the movie.
There you go. Harley Quinn and her adventures in Gotham.
Sure.
I'd have been all right with that. Just
Honestly, I think that this movie should have been Gotham City Sirens.
that would have been good too.
Where it would have been Harley and Catwoman
Sure.
and Poison Ivy.
Sure.
Like, do the all-female villain thing instead of trying to link her up with Birds of Prey, because one of the things I did enjoy about the movie is that they make it a point to where they don't pull a Suicide Squad and then halfway through the movie it's like, okay, we're good guys now.
Right.
Like, they are pretty much shitty throughout the duration of the movie. And if they do something good, it's because it kind of benefits them in some way.
Yeah, it's not, oh, I'm a good guy now.
Right,
no, it's,
right.
hey, it benefits me.
Right. It's like, I'm helping you because I have to.
Help you, help me.
Right, exactly, but not because out of the goodness of my heart or because I feel guilt or anything like that. Like, it's not any of those things. It's,
No,
it's
not
more
at all.
so in my own self-interest. I'm helping
Sure.
you.
Yeah, self-preservation. And I think that's even mentioned directly in the movie.
Yeah, which I appreciated that because I didn't want them to suddenly halfway through Harley's like, nah, I'm a good guy. I'm not with Mr. J no more, and I want to go help people. Like, I didn't want it to do that.
Yeah, no, me neither.
So it stayed true to what they set out to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of mentioned the choreography. There are fight scenes in this movie that would rival like John Wick. Like there is some shit that they do with. I'm just gonna say one word. When you go in to see this, kneecaps. Oh my god!
Yeah, buddy.
They do some shit in this
That was
movie
great.
where it's like, oh my god, like it's really inventive, and it reminded me a lot of like not just like John Wick, but like old like kung fu like wire fu movies where like the fighters
there
are
was
like
a lot
jumping
of,
on top of
man.
yeah, like jumping on like different objects. Like there's a fight scene between Huntress and these goons inside like the playhouse, and she's like jumping on top of these things back and forth, and they're flipping over shit.
Yeah, that was badass.
And it reminded me of like some Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon
It did.
kind of shit. And I was like, okay. I'm like, in which I love those kind of movies, so I'm like, hey, I'm not complaining.
Right, all for it.
Yeah, like I think all the fight choreography was good. I did enjoy how they incorporated the soundtrack into the movie at certain points. There were times where I was like, okay, y'all didn't need to put this song in right now. Like, I don't need like a montage right now. But there was other moments where I was like, okay, this fits. Like, I like this. Like, I like this.
I liked the roller skate scene.
Ah, yes.
That was great.
Probably on the roller skates.
Yes.
Yeah.
Both times actually.
Now, what did you think about how they? Because I don't want to spoil it because But how they handled the Joker in this.
It was not what I was expecting, but it was what I was expecting.
Okay. I was surprised. I'll say this. I was surprised that they even mentioned him outside of We Broke Up.
Right. And that's what I mean. Like, there was more mention of him than I was expecting past, hey, we broke up.
Yeah.
And the way that they, like, found the little...
Yeah, ways to put him in there, yeah. Because, okay.
The little ways to put him in there without actually putting him in there.
Because I think we can say this without spoiling anything for anybody who is interested in seeing it, who hasn't yet. The Joker is in this movie.
Yes.
It is not Jared Leto's Joker.
No.
Jared Leto is not in this movie, but the Joker is in this movie. But not really. He is, but he ain't.
It's like his stunt double.
Right.
Like, that's all I pretty much
the Joker stunt double is in the movie, yeah.
Whoever was Jared Leto's stunt double in Suicide Squad, they called that guy back, and they're like, hey, I need you for, like, 15 minutes of screen time.
Right. He was like, man, I'm at my other job. I'm on a lunch break. I got, like, 15 minutes left. Perfect.
That's all we need.
We can knock this out right now.
Movie.
Yeah, and they filmed all his shit in one day, and then they just edited it into the movie, just kind of sprinkled it out like every act or so.
Like, not even, he didn't even have to memorize lines. He didn't have to nothing.
Nope. So he's in it, but I was surprised at the fact that they talk about him as much as they do, and that they make the fact that they're not together anymore a major plot point to why everything is happening in the first place.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting.
Yeah. Well, now, I want to talk about the characters real quick.
Okay.
What did you think of the Birds of Prey? Because, like we said, they're not in the movie all that much.
No.
But when they are, what did you think about them? Like, say, specifically, Cassidy Kane.
Okay.
Because I think she's the character they changed the most out of everybody. She is nothing like her comic book counterpart, like, at all. And I don't mean they just changed her race or whatever. Like, she's nothing like at all.
I thought that it was an interesting take on her. But
I thought she was funny, at least.
Yeah, I mean, she was funny. She had some witty lines. The actress that they got to play her did a relatively good job for what she had to do. I don't.
Okay, I'll say this: she wasn't shit.
Yeah,
like don't trust her ass as far as you can throw her ass. Fuck that bullshit.
Yeah, no.
And I'm like, every time. I mean, she is one of those characters where it's like, you keep waiting for that moment to where it's like, okay, this is where they're going to redeem themselves. Yeah. This is where they're going to do the right thing. And it's like, every time she just keeps fucking shit up. And it's like, will you just stop? Sit the fuck down. Don't say nothing. Don't touch nothing. And just wait. and we will get this figured out. And it's like, nah.
I'm going to keep causing trouble.
Right. And man, so yeah, I liked her because I liked her for the comic relief. But at the same time, I was like, man, she is annoying the shit out of me. Because
she reminded me of one of my kids at work.
Oh, God.
She really did.
Oh, God. I'm sorry.
Like, a specific one in general that I will not mention, but yeah.
What about Renee Montoya?
Okay, so I liked Renee, but I really wish that they would have kind of let her develop a little bit more. I think that she's got potential.
I think at least for
what we had in this movie and what her part was supposed to be, she filled it well.
Yeah. She was kind of like a one note. She's like the hard ass cop and shit. Like, so much so to where the characters in the movie make fun of her. Like, they have this like running gag where it's like, why does she talk like a 80s TV cop? You know, it's like she talks in all these like, and we're gonna turn this town upside down. And it's like, why is she talking like that? Like, what the fuck?
I think they could have given her some more.
Yeah, and the her storyline specifically, and partially the storyline with Harley, they pull some shit where I was just like, are y'all trying to make people mad at the movie or what? Because like for the most part, there is, for the most part, it's a female woman power centric movie and about moving on and not having to be. And there's a very poignant moment where Harley's talking to Canary and she's explaining to her what a Harlequin is and about how like Harlequins, are made to serve and
Right.
And like we're nothing without a master and this, that, and the other. And I was like, that was a deep, like very, introspective statement that she made, because like Harley has these weird things that she does where she's almost like Deadpool to a degree, or at least that's what they're trying to make her into. Is their Deadpool.
I mean, they really are.
I mean, so much so to the point where like she breaks the fourth wall at one point and looks directly at the camera and is like, seriously? And
yeah,
I'm like,
you caught
wow.
that too, huh?
Yeah, I was like, wow, y'all ain't even hiding this shit no more. But she has this thing where she's all like crazy, goofy, absent-minded Harley, and then she'll slip into her, Harleen Quinzel, psychiatrist.
I wonder if
and give like some insightful, knowledge drop bombs.
I wonder if the fact that she's not with the Joker anymore has got her kind of thinking clearly, like clear-headed. Because she mentions her Harleen Quinzel personality a multitude of times throughout this.
Yeah.
And the only constant that is not there is the Joker. So that kind of makes me like think back on him and be like, okay, was he like drugging her? Was something with the chemicals? Was he, was he doing some kind of behavior thing to make her be like, okay, well, I gotta be this ditzy hard ass.
Just this Mr. J.
Right. Yeah. And now that she's like away from him and she's kind of going through the process of grief and separation, and like, is it kind of clearing her head a little and
maybe
giving her these moments of clarity where
kind of like getting somebody off of a drug, like
right.
get them past their withdrawals,
right?
And they start becoming more focused.
Yeah, they kind of focus up a little bit.
Yeah, and it's like, see, don't you feel better when you ain't on a bender? Like, yeah, maybe. I think you have a point there, because I think yes, that once she got out from under his influence, that she started to learn more about herself, that I can be independent. I don't need to be with him.
Right.
And kind of, got
like
to a
I
point,
did do this before him. I can do X, Y, and Z after him.
Like I went to college. I'm smart. I'm educated. I know these streets. Like I can, get by. Because she starts doing this thing where it's like, oh, I'm gonna be a mercenary and shit. And it's like, Harley, sit your ass down. Though she do wreck shop. Like don't get it twisted. Like Harley would go fuck some shit up.
Kneecaps.
Now I talked about how I like the choreography and stuff, but there is a couple of scenes where there's moments where it's like you could just shoot them, but they don't. Multiple times in one scene, as a matter of fact. And it's like, okay, it's a movie, I get it, and they do the thing where one person fights at a time, even though there's like 6 people surrounding them or whatever. Sure, fine, but with the guns, it's like, come on, man. Like, you can't run up on a bunch of armed people and just start opening fire on them and nobody shoot back, not one bullet.
Not even draw back.
Yeah, it was so weird, man. But as far as, like, Harley herself goes, though, I think that Margot Robbie did a much better job as Harley in this than she did in Suicide Squad. I think
sure.
is a lot more comfortable in the character. Her accent is much better in this.
I didn't like the outfits, though.
No, the costume, and not because, and we're not doing that thing, because I did see some people online like, oh, well, her costumes weren't even sexy and this and that. I didn't care about that.
No, I don't give a shit.
But it was just, the clothing choices were just weird. Everybody was dressed like they were in a punk band.
Yeah, and not to mention that one shirt that she spent most of the movie
in.
That
white,
the white
like
one.
Crop top that said Harley Quinn all over it.
Yeah, like, who the fuck?
Yeah, man. And then she's wearing like a yellow jumper at some point. Like, I was
at
just
the
like,
end, yeah.
Everything. They put her in everything but her goddamn, original
weird,
or something close to that.
Yeah, they gave her the weird, fucking raincoat thing, and we see her original costumes for 30 seconds at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's funny too, because at the very beginning they give like a origin story, I guess, to Harley where explaining how she became a psychiatrist, how she met the Joker, how she became Harley Quinn. And we see her in 2D animated form in her original, Harley Quinn costume, but then it's pretty much absent the rest of the movie. Which, I mean, it's whatevs, but I don't know. I didn't like Black Canary as much.
See,
she was okay.
I liked Black Canary, but again, I think that they could have given her more.
Yeah, it was like she was okay. I mean, acting wise, I think she did fine.
Oh yeah.
As far as her character, I just didn't like that she was kind of playing both sides of the fence because she works for Black Mass, but then she kind of don't, but she still kind of does until she don't want to know more. And it's like, you got to kind of pick a side, man, because they alluded to the fact that like she was in danger and like he would hurt her if she tried to leave, but they didn't really go into that very much. And I was just kind of like,
pick a side.
Yeah. I don't know. My biggest problem with the movie overall is it's very man-hating.
Yeah. Yeah,
if you have a dick and you're in this movie, you are a dick.
You are the bad guy.
I mean, every single male character, not one, is good.
And they were all slimy.
And it wasn't just that they were assholes, but they were like slimy assholes too. And it was like, I mean, save for a couple, but still, it was like anytime, even characters that you think are neutral to good turn out to be assholes by the end. And it's just like, why? Like, why was that necessary? I mean, you couldn't have gave us just the one character to be like, okay, he's cool. No, fuck them. They all ain't shit.
No, we weren't supposed to like any of the male characters in this movie.
Not a single one. Not a single one. And that is clearly by choice.
Yeah.
And I think that if people were interested in seeing it after hearing word of mouth about it like that, may turn them off to seeing the movie, and I honestly can't blame them because it's like usually when in a female centric movie or a movie with a female lead,
at
that's
least
about
the
female
males are kind
empowerment,
of supportive.
Right. It's like I don't mind trying to make a message of
women are important too.
Right, independence or not having to bow down to a man, or we can do just as much as you can.
We can work together.
Right. Like equal, sure.
All for that.
But I felt like this movie in particular kind of went out of its way to be like, men ain't shit. And I don't know why, especially after the backlash to, the all-female Ghostbusters movie, it's other kind of things that have come up. It's like, why are you setting yourself up for that? Captain Marvel was a good example, even though that made $1 billion. I mean, this ain't gonna do that.
I would say Captain Marvel was a bad example because even
got all the money.
Even some of the supporting male roles in Captain Marvel, there was only one slimy one.
Yeah.
He wasn't.
Yeah. People try to make that movie seem like, oh, they all hate men. No. If you want to find a movie to bitch about hating men, this is the one.
And, as a woman, I'm not one of those women where I'm men suck and men, all men are this or all men are that. Fuck all that shit. I can be strong and independent and not hate on somebody else. And I don't think that it's necessary to continuously in cinema, music, whatever, everyday life, to be like, okay, well, the only way to build myself up or others like me up is to knock everybody else down.
Yeah.
It's not enough just to outshine them. You got to knock them back a couple pedestals. And I'm sorry, but as a woman who is strong and independent, and I like the strong, independent kind of women, I don't like men haters.
Yeah. Me neither.
Sure, if you're going to hate on one specific person for one or two specific reasons, that's one thing.
Yeah. Whatever your grievances with them, sure, but don't
But
superimpose that to all men.
Exactly. Don't
like,
generalize it to everybody.
Shit. Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we'll see how it holds up this second weekend going and see what it does. But right now, I mean, it's not doing too hot.
I think you're right, though. I think once we get word of mouth that this is where it focuses, that
And people are gonna I've already seen people laser focusing on that and ignoring, the good parts of the movie, because that is problematic and was a bad creative choice, I think. But
absolutely.
But that didn't necessarily take away from my enjoyment of the movie. On its own, it's fine.
Right.
But that did take it down, and it brought too much attention to it, because at first I didn't really pick up on it until it was like,
it's apparent by like the end of the movie.
Yeah, until it's like, and then this character's an asshole, and that character's an asshole, and him, and him, and him, and I'm like, okay, I see where this is going now. Now I understand. So I think that's going to hurt the movie, but overall, I did enjoy it.
I did as well.
I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it, because it was so much like Suicide Squad, but like I said, they did what Suicide Squad tried to do and actually did it good.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
I'll give it that.
I agree. I thought I liked Suicide Squad when I saw it, and then after I saw it for a while, like, I started thinking about it, and I went back and I watched it again, and I'm like, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. Yeah. It's like, wait a minute here.
Yeah, and we were talking about tone, like, that movie's tone is all over the fucking place too. And by the way, before we give our ratings and go into spoilers, I want to ask you this question: do you think that this needed to be rated R?
I think the only reason it probably is rated R is the language.
Yeah, no, I know why it is, but I think that they could have told the same story without making it rated, because it's not super gory or anything. I mean, there's some very cringy, like, fight scenes where people get hurt and bones get broken and shit like that.
I don't think that warrants a rated R rating. I think the scene that we talked about with the undressing, and I think the language is about the only thing that made it rated R. And we probably could have taken 90% of that language out, because with the rated R movie, I think you're allowed like 2 or 3 F-bombs.
Yeah, I think it's 2 F-bombs as long as they're not in the context of sex.
Right.
Like, you can say fuck you, but you can't say I want to fuck.
Right.
Which is so dumb.
That's weird. But whatever. And I think that the two fucks that were necessary, I think we'd have been good with that.
Yeah. Yeah, but they could have said shit and damn all they wanted to.
Yeah, I don't think that we needed a rated R for anything in that movie.
No, there was nothing in this that they could have got away with this being PG-13. And I bet you Warner Brothers is probably regretting that fact now. It's like,
probably.
Damn. You're like, man, if we'd have made this PG-13, more people could have went and seen it.
Yeah.
Because at least for people who were asked about it, like, people like under the age of 18 who saw the movie enjoyed it. But that's going to be a small number because they can only go with their parents.
Right.
So it's like, if you could have got more of that teenage demographic in there, you might have made more money.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that there's anything really in there that most teenagers haven't seen anyway.
Yeah. And plus, Deadpool was a big enough character and known by enough people, and people have wanted a Deadpool movie for long enough to where it was like, well, of course that movie was rated R and successful and shit, because there was anticipation for that.
Right.
Nobody was asking for this. Not to say that it shouldn't have been made, but it was just like,
I think
nobody was asking for a Birds of Prey movie.
I think they're trying to do with Harley Quinn what they did with Deadpool.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Clearly. And I think that that's part of the reason for the rating. Yeah. The rated R, because Deadpool is rated R. So
it got released in February. Yep.
If they're going to match Harley with Deadpool, as they have tried to do, they are trying to bring her up to his level. And not that Harley's not at Deadpool's level, but Harley's not really at Deadpool's level.
No, she's not. No, that is it. She's not at his level.
She's not at his level, and I don't think that she can be at his level.
Yeah.
It would take a lot of work.
Yeah, I think it's in part because she, for the longest time, was not her own character. She was just like a companion.
An extension of the Joker.
Right. Yeah. So then once they spin her out, try to make her more independent, it's going to take time to build up her legend, so to speak, to get her to that point where people are like hungry for a Harley Quinn. I'm like, Deadpool's a character that is not a A-list character, but he's been around long enough in pop culture, And Ryan Reynolds has been petitioning to make this fucking movie for like a decade, so it's been in the zeitgeist for a long time. All that being said, though.
And also, like, the comics where Harley is independent and she's her own woman, and, you know, when she gets to be with Poison Ivy and all of that, that's a very small, limited window of
compared
comic.
Compared
to
she's
everything
been around
else.
doing, shit with the Joker
So
all the time.
This little, like, caveat that we have of the strong, independent Harley on her own or with somebody that's not the Joker, whether that's, you know, Batman, Catwoman, Ivy, whatever, most people aren't familiar with that.
Yep.
So if they were going to bring Harley to that point, they probably should have led with that in Suicide Squad as opposed to keeping her with the Joker as much as she was in Suicide Squad. Yeah. Because he wasn't even part of Suicide Squad.
Nope.
Like, he had some appearances here and there.
Yeah.
And I think that if they would have taken this concept of the strong, independent Harley and put her in Suicide Squad as that strong, independent person, already broke up with the Joker, you know, kind of moving forward with her life and stuff, I think that would have been better. That would have been a good Harley to introduce people to.
Yep, I agree. You ready for ratings?
Yes.
Okay, so if you've not listened to one of these before, we have a 5-tier rating system. It goes really fucking liked it, meh, hated it, and really fucking hated it. So for Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, what would you rate this?
I think overall, it's not as bad as a meh.
Okay.
But I
somewhere between
just barely makes I liked it.
Okay. I would give it a firm I liked it.
Okay.
You know, again, the man-hating shit brought it down a little bit, but I can appreciate the craft behind, like I said, the fight choreography. The jokes for the most part were pretty good. It, you know, moved at a decent pace. I didn't feel like the movie dragged.
No, yep.
And, you know, it kept me entertained for the most part. So it's like, that's really all I asked for.
Yeah. I mean, I liked it. And, you know, we were sitting in the theater and there was a lot of oohs and ahs. And there was one part I busted out laughing.
Oh,
that
yeah,
was quite funny. And the only thing is I don't even remember which part it was.
I think I know what you're talking about.
But you know, I mean, it's all right though. It was great. Not great, but it was good enough.
Sure.
It was better than I was expecting. I went in there with kind of low expectations, and it overpassed Suicide Squad. It did what Suicide Squad should have done, and I don't think that, you know, I don't think it was terrible.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, that's fine. I mean, I've seen some people online trying to like talk about, oh, it's trash and this, that, and the other. And then other people like defending it like this is like,
oh my god,
right, some fucking like Spider-Man 2 or some shit. I'm like, this is not the best thing since sliced bread, and it's not the worst thing since spoiled milk. So calm the fuck down.
Yeah, it's somewhere in between.
Yeah, it's good enough, and that's fine. That's
good
all it
enough
needs.
Works
to be.
for me.
I'm like, they're not finna spin this shit off to no fucking Birds of Prey for it. Even though by the end they do try to plant the seeds to set that shit up. And I'm just like, man, y'all stop with this shit. But yeah, so now we are going to go into spoilers. So if you don't want to get spoiled, get the fuck out of here. You have been warned.
Can I get spoiled?
Insert spoiler sound here. Okay, so there's not a lot to spoil to this because there's not a, you know, the plot's pretty straightforward.
It's pretty basic.
Harley breaks up with the Joker. She breaks fucking Black Mass driver's legs. He wants to have her killed. There's a diamond that he wants to get. Actually, it is a little bit more convoluted now that I'm saying it out loud.
There's like
a diamond
87
that he wants
million
to get.
people that want to kill her.
Right. And so instead of killing her, she's like, hey, I can help you get this diamond that he got from a family that was killed, who their secret bank account information was engraved inside the diamond, so that's why he wants
that shit.
Yeah, and then it gets stolen from him by one of the birds of prey, and then Harley has to try to get it back, but the girl swallows it, and she has to try to get her poop it back out, and then
she's like playing both sides.
Yeah, it's a whole thing, but the man-hating thing.
Oh my God.
This is what I wanted to specifically talk about that I didn't want to spoil for somebody.
Oh, thank you.
So,
I'm so glad that you went there.
The old man. Okay, so first off, we start off with obviously the Joker's an asshole. Mm-hmm. So he's number one. Okay. Yep. Black Mask, also
an asshole.
Number 2.
Victor Zsasz,
also an asshole. Okay, number 4. Then, or I'm sorry,
3.
Yeah. Then, we find out that Renee Montoya is stuck at being a detective because she solved a case and her partner took credit for it, and he became the police captain.
So he's also an asshole.
Right, who then turns around and suspends her and shit, fires her.
All of the male cops are assholes.
Yeah, they all make fun of her, and they're all shitty towards her and act like she's not a good detective and shit, so they're all assholes. Then we get to the old man.
Who's calm.
Who runs the little Chinese food place, and Harley's like, that's her little stash house. She lives upstairs, and no one knows she's there. And he sells her out to the criminals because they give him some money.
Okay, so he's an asshole.
And it's like, and at first she was like, oh, Mr. Whatever, and she runs outside after the apartment blows up, and she's looking for him, and I'm thinking like, oh, they got to him.
They
like,
killed him.
Right, he's dead. Or
peeled his face off.
Right, they cut his face off. Right, something, anything. Like,
his house is on, or his restaurant.
His dick hole, like, all kind of shit.
His restaurant's on fire.
Right. No, he's packing up his fucking truck with his shit, and he's like, yeah, sorry, Harley, just too many people offer me too much money, and I just, another person, just business, bye, bitch, and just left. And she has this moment where she kind of like stares off to the distance. She's like, kind of like bites her lip and shakes her head, like, and I could just, she doesn't actually say anything, but I can hear her thinking, all men are fucked up.
Yep.
Like, they
this
all
was my
ain't
last
shit.
hope. We forgot one, and he's not the only male in this movie that's not an asshole.
Who?
Sal, the man that makes her the egg sandwich at the restaurant.
I feel like he was probably a pedophile or something too, and we just didn't know.
Hey, he might have been creepy, but we didn't know that.
That's
He even
fine.
lets her get by not paying that last quarter.
That is okay. Yeah. All right. So one guy
who has very little of a part,
and honestly,
all he does is make a damn egg sandwich.
Honestly, he might have had a scene where he was an asshole, and they might have just cut that for time. They was like, just
could been.
When this comes out on DVD, we'll check the deleted scene, see if his asshole scene's in there too.
His creepy asshole scene.
Yeah.
He's like licking her through the glass or something as she walks away, and be like, "Oh yeah, I'll make you that sandwich,
like
baby girl."
Pennywise and shit.
Right. Yeah.
Now, we didn't talk about Black Mask in the regular part of the review, which I actually kind of forgot about him.
I mean, it's kind of hard to talk about him without spoiling him.
Right. He man, I don't know what, look, Ewan McGregor was like, I'm just here to collect a check and just have fun, man. He just like, he was having a ball. He dancing like, woo, yeah, we partying, baby. Like, cut these bitches' faces off. I'm like, he was not intimidating or scary on any level.
No.
And I don't have a problem with it. I don't care on any level whatsoever. But it's insinuated that he has a sexual relationship with Victor Zsasz. They never come out and say it, but there is did you not pick up on that?
No.
Okay, so there is like multiple moments in the movie where like, okay, so remember
I did pick up on
when
the
he's
fact
in
that
his
he
robe?
was probably gay.
Yeah, we're like Black Mask is in his robe and he's in his house and he's talking to Black Canary, and I think he's wanting to send her. No, they just caught Harley. And he's like, oh, we got the Harley bitch. He's like, yeah, let's go down there and kill her. He's like rubbing his shoulders and he's like right in his face, and he's like, yeah, now go get dressed. Yeah. And like every time they interacted with each other, he was just always like, no, come on, calm down, it's cool. And I was just like, are they fucking each other?
They might have been.
And again, I don't give a shit.
Right.
But I know that's just another thing that people who want to hate this movie are going to use as ammunition against it.
I didn't pick up on between him and Victor.
They made all the men assholes, and then they made Black Mask and Victor's ass gay.
I did pick up on when he gets back into the car, it's not the immediate after they peel the guys' faces off, but it's like a replay of something that Harley's like telling, and it's like they step back to it or whatever.
Yeah.
And he actually gets into the car, and you see Black Canary in the car, and he's like, ew.
Yeah. Yeah, like he don't even want to be like around this bitch, and not just.
No, he had something on his suit.
What?
He got like blood or something on the corner of his suit.
Oh, Black Mask. Yes,
Yeah.
Because his whole shtick is he's like a germaphobe and shit. And
so
he's
just like, ew.
Yeah, he wears the black mask so he don't get blood and shit on his face and all that shit. Yeah, he's real weird.
He's weird through the whole fucking movie.
But his character was so just.
Did you see all the weird BDSM art that was on his?
Yeah, in the wall in the background.
Yeah, he's putting the mask on.
Everything about his character was just odd. It was just really odd acting choices, and I'm just like, I don't know if that was the direction they gave him.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or if he was like, I just want to just do something just weird, just crazy, just experiment. Just try some things. Like I'd be like,
no,
play this shit straight, and I don't mean heterosexual straight. I just mean. Don't come in here doing some old goofy shit. Quit break dancing and spinning around, talking about woo, like every 5 minutes, woo, and I'm like, all right, Ric Flair, calm the fuck down.
Right. Okay, so can we talk about the creepy club scene, please?
Oh, where he makes the girl strip on the table?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So the whole thing is he's in the club and they're all whatever.
He's pissed because
he loses the deal with the diamond.
Yeah.
The Chinese guy is like, yeah, no, we don't need your help and whatever.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then he looks at Victor, and this chick across the bar is just laughing. It's one chick and like two dudes sitting at a table.
And they all drunk.
They're all drunk. Yeah. They're all laughing. They've been sitting there for a while.
Yeah, and Black Mask, he's like, is that bitch laughing at me?
That bitch is laughing at me.
And he's like, no, man, no, that's cool. He's like, no. I'm sorry, no. Victor Zsasz actually encourages that shit. He's like, yeah, she is. And I'm like, this motherfucker, he just want to be able to kill somebody.
Thing.
He's like, if I tell him it was, then I can get to kill somebody.
Right.
Shit. Add a new scar to my body.
Victor's a weirdo anyway.
Yeah.
It didn't click to me who Victor was until kind of halfway through the movie. I just thought he was like some evil henchman dude. But my best representation of like the only thing that I really know Victor Zsasz from is Gotham.
Mm-hmm.
And in Gotham, he's like this deranged, bald-headed dude, and it was a great portrayal. Mm-hmm. Great. And then it finally clicked, and I was like, oh, that's Victor Zsasz. Yeah. All right, that makes more sense now.
Yeah, and they changed his look and all that, which again, I don't
doesn't
care
matter
about that shit. Yeah.
But back to, sorry, I got sidetracked.
Sure.
But they could have embarrassed that girl more by not. Like, they didn't have to make her strip on a table.
Well, I mean, no, I thought that was a powerful moment because that was the one thing they did for him to make him villainous, like to make him like an evil character, to be just like.
I know, but they could have.
He was like, get on the table. He was like, now dance. He was like, now strip. He was like, get up there. He's like, cut it off or cut the dress off her and shit. But if by the end of the scene, if he would have killed her, or like threatened to kill her,
or like slice her face or something,
right, pulled a gun out, something. But it was just like he was just like get up there, dance, strip, and cry.
He didn't even make. If he would have connected it to him thinking that she was laughing at him, somehow, some way, be like, this is what happens when people laugh at me, or who's laughing now, or something to that effect. I'd have been better. But at the end, he's just like dancing and she's up there crying and half naked and it just is a slimy scene.
Yeah.
It's just like a slimy scene and it just
But I think it's achieved its goal though.
Well, sure.
It's supposed to make you not like him, but
I had already not liked him.
Yeah, but I just don't think there was enough moments like that with him to make you go, okay, he's to respect him as a villain or to hate him enough as a villain
right
to make you care. He was just kind of there for most of the movie.
Like that was the one scene that kind of stands out.
Yeah, like he sets a lot of stuff in motion, but he doesn't really do. And him personally, he doesn't do anything. He shoots Renee Montoya, but he doesn't even kill her. But that's literally the only thing he does in the whole movie.
Right.
Like he never fights anybody. He don't kill nobody. Victor's ass kills all of his people for him, and he's really hands off with everything.
The only thing that could be considered kind of slimy for him is when when Victor's slicing the face off the Chinese guy and his wife and the daughter. And he's like, oh no, we're going to let you live because this is a loud enough thing. And then she gets a snot bubble.
Right, she's crying. She's like, thank you so much. She's like, oh, is that a snot bubble? He's like, oh, never mind. He's like, kill her.
Like, that wasn't even a slimy scene, though.
That was just funny.
It was
actually.
just funny. And I'm like, what the hell?
I don't know. I'm probably a horrible person for saying I laughed at that, but I did. It was funny.
No, I did too. I'm pretty sure I did.
One of the other things, though, is I don't know what the hell they were trying to do with Huntress. Like, they made her all weird and awkward, which is fine. And she was funny because, like, when they're like, "All right, so we're all a team, right? And we're gonna fight together," and she's like, "Sure."
She's like, no, I did what I came to do. I'm good.
Right. Or when she comes in and kills a boy, she's like, "Okay, well, I did what I came to do. He's dead, so I'm just gonna let y'all handle y'all bullshit, and I'm gonna be out."
Right.
And they're like, "No, you ain't leaving." But I liked her because I thought she was funny and awkward. Like, she didn't have, like, social skills because her family was killed at such a young age, and she was raised as an assassin, so she's not really sociable with people and shit. So I thought that was funny.
Right.
But they give her so much backstory. Like, it's just this whole info dump. It's like, oh, and she was part of the Bert and Nelly family, and they were killed,
right.
but she survived, and the henchman felt bad, so he took her in, and they raised her as an assassin.
They could have set that up a little bit differently.
Yeah, it was just like...
They didn't need all that.
Yeah, and then to tie her into the diamond and everything else, it's like she's not in the movie very much, and she's gone for, like, the whole second act. She doesn't show up again until, like, the third act.
Right.
Because you see her at the beginning when she kills the mob dudes in the restaurant, and then you don't see her again until she shoots that dude in the throat that's trying to kill Harley that broke his legs. But then after that, she don't see her no more until she pops back up at the end or towards the end where she goes to the egg sandwich dude asking about Harley, and then when she pops up at the funhouse. Yeah. And then that's it. And I'm like, why give her all this backstory if she's only in the movie like twice?
I really think that they're setting up for a Birds of Prey movie.
Oh, definitely.
So they put all of this backstory dump in this Harley movie.
So in the next one, it's like, y'all know him now. Yeah.
They already know.
Yeah, I guess.
I liked most of how this kind of like progressed and whatever. I didn't like the fact that, yes, it's Harley's movie, but they also tried to they did like a BVS kind of thing. They had one storyline, and then they tried to throw all this other shit in here to set up for other stuff when
the whole thing with the diamond.
Yeah, half of that
they
could have
cut
been
all that
sufficient,
out. Yeah.
and then we would still be okay if they were making this Birds of Prey movie that they seem to have put in motion.
Right. Again, Gotham City Sirens would have made much more sense than
much more sense.
Birds of Prey.
Absolutely.
Because if you're going to make them all, like, villainous, kind of doing grimy shit characters anyway, even though they're supposed to be the good guys,
right?
Like the cops,
you might
as well just did the villains, and just it would have made sense. I mean, I don't know. Like, two more things.
Okay.
One, I've called bullshit on the fact that she only had one hyena. I said that at the end of the movie, and I had to go look it up. In the animated series, they had two hyenas. They were named Bud and Lou after Abbott and Costello.
Yep. And
in this, she only has one. She names him Bruce.
I would say they could have took that and they could have given her two hyenas and named them Bruce and Wayne.
Yeah, right, sure. That would have made more
sense than...
By the end, I was expecting her to have a second hyena in the back seat, but it was still just the one, and I was like,
one hyena.
Okay.
With a pink collar.
Yeah, I guess. And then the other thing that I wanted to address right before we finish out is do not stay for the end credits.
No.
Yes, there is something at the very end, but don't stay for it. Because all it is, it's a black screen, and Harley, you hear her voice, and she was like, it's over. What you dummy still doing sitting there? She was like, okay, well, since you were so patient and waited this long, I'll tell you a super secret. She was like, Batman right.
Cut off.
Yeah. And it's like, okay. They're like, that's it. That's all you get. And I know people were probably expecting to see something like, oh, maybe we'll get like a picture of Batman or Robert Pattinson in the bat suit, like a little teaser at the end of this, something.
I wasn't even expecting a picture. It would have just been nice to have like the Batman something. Yeah. More than just the Batman, cut it off.
I would have rather had seen like pulled some shit like they did at the end of Batman and Batman Returns, where like you just see like the clouds in the sky, and then the bat signal goes up, and you can just kind of hear his cape flowing in the wind or something, just to give you a little tease to be like, this is the next DC thing that's coming out. No,
Nothing.
No. So again, do not wait for the end credits.
Please
it's not
don't.
worth your time. There's way too many credits, and for the bullshit that we got, I was like, no.
Yeah, there was like 12 minutes of credits.
Yeah, I was not happy when we left the theater. I was like, I sat here all the way for that. Like,
I'm pretty
fuck outta
sure
here.
I yelled out, "What the hell?"
Yeah. At least show me something from Aquaman 2. Something.
Right?
God damn.
Give me something.
Yeah, but like go check it out if you're interested in it. Like, don't let the haters deter you, and judge for yourself. If you like it, great. If you don't, that's totally fine. But I feel like if you thought that you might get some enjoyment out of this and want to give it a chance, go.
You
do
should.
It. Yeah. But that is going to be it for the show. Remember, you can always find us at our home, onegiantleapforgeeks.libsyn.com. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, or really anywhere else you get your podcast. Make sure to show us some love, so go ahead and take your little fingers and hit that like, subscribe, give us a rating, follow us, review us, and all that shit.
And if you have any comments, questions, concerns, criticisms, or you just want to say hi, you can always email us at officialoglfg@gmail.com. You can find us as a show on Twitter at GiantLeap4Geeks. You can find myself on Twitter at Froggy Beaver. The show is also on Facebook, Reddit, Instagram. I am on Instagram, and it's probably best to catch me on Instagram as opposed to Twitter, because Instagram makes a little more sense, but whatever. All you have to do really is search for One Giant Leap for Geeks. It's not that hard to find us, guys. All right, you have a good night. Bye!